No, I saw the movie yesterday and really fell in love with it. I can't wait to hear people's reaction. I found it to be like relatable in a scary way, in a funny way, just like everything. Just such a great coming of age, beautiful film. So thank you for sharing it with me.
That's really kind. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, of course. To get started, the film really got me thinking of that like oxygen mask analogy. When you're on a flight, our instinct is to put it on someone else first, but really we need to take care of ourselves first. And I feel like that really, at least for me, encapsulated Lucy's trajectory over the film. What do you hope that audiences take away from her arc over the course of your film?
First of all, I love the oxygen mask analogy. I hadn't thought of that, and you're the first person to say that, and I think that's incredibly astute and yeah, very much like a perfect analogy for what I hope people take away. Lucy is a complicated and very flawed young lady. She has a lot of strange problems, but she's also, I think she's plucky, she's resilient, she's someone that we want to root for, and she's got a lot of kind of like misplaced potential and things that she could be really good at. And, she could be a great friend, she could be a great editor for books one day, she could be all of these things, but instead she's choosing to put all of her energy into the men in her life, frankly. And yeah, my hope is that in experiencing Lucy's journey, people, perhaps think about themselves a little bit and kind of reclaim that sort of main character thing a little bit, right? Like we are, the masters of our own ships and we are the sort of center of our own story. And it's an important, lifelong reminder.
Yeah, and I found it to be very empowering as a result of that theme. One thing I also really appreciated of the film was how, as I alluded to earlier, kind of relatable and normal it was. Lucy's dad isn't some kind of monster. Her boyfriend that she comes enthralled by seems like a pretty decent guy. So rather than go big with these kind of characterizations, you went really grounded. What was the thought process behind that decision?
Thank you. That's also another wonderful question. I think that I know a lot of good guys, and I think that we're in this really fraught cultural moment where we certainly are in a masculinity crisis. And I think that it's important to have men on screen that are also good, because we certainly get a lot of bad guys. And there are lots of bad guys and there's lots of bad women. There's, of course. But I really felt drawn to telling a story where things were a little bit, kind of in the gray area and where the men are, decent, good people, even though they all have their own flaws, of course, and things that they need to work through. They're ultimately good guys. And I think that, one of the things that I hope this story does is that it's like everyone in the movie, I hope that there's a kind of like earnestness to it. It's like a lot of people who are just people trying their best, and there's no like weird hidden agendas or anything. It's just like people who have some pretty human flaws and are trying to work through them.
Yeah, and in turn, it feels really normal, right? Like you don't go for that big swing where the dad's some horrible person or the boyfriend is. I found that to be really refreshing.
Right.
I wanted to ask you about this line in the movie that really stuck with me, and I wrote it down. You're so desperate for people not to leave you, but the people who never would, you push away. That line hits so hard. I think that's such a beautifully written line and beautifully delivered line. Can you tell me a little bit about your conceptualization of that line? I thought it was so brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the thing with Lucy, and this is a spoiler, but with her, with the backstory of her mom, right? Like she's got, I think, a pretty heavy fear of abandonment. And so in turn, she really clings to people, but she's clinging to the wrong people. And sometimes, right? And especially like with her friend group, she's got this wonderful friend, Eden. It's her best friend, and Eden's really cool, but Lucy at almost every turn in the movie is not a good friend to Eden. And there's something like really heartbreaking about that. And I think that, the thinking around that line and that whole scene, with Eden being like, you're just this barnacle, you like attach to these people, and you don't show up for the ones who really matter. It's like if Lucy was showing up in the right ways in her life, I mean, well, there wouldn't be a story, I guess. Um, but yeah, that's a big part of Lucy's journey is sort of reconfiguring and rethinking and reanalyzing where her energy needs to go and where she needs to prioritize people.
Yeah, it's a journey of like balance and prioritization. You kind of read my mind into the next question. I found it really interesting that you make Lucy such a likable character who we empathize with, who we can laugh along with and kind of laugh at sometimes. But
Mhm.
also she isn't like you said the best friend all the time. She isn't always the best daughter even, right? Like she makes a lot of missteps. I'm curious as a writer, director, and also the star, how you navigate that tone between making like a vulnerable, kind of raw main character who is flawed, but also still making sure the audience invests in her journey.
Well, I appreciate that. And I was of course, I was worried. Like that was like, I hope I can pull that off, And I think that a big part of it is that I wanted Lucy to be smart, like there's things that she's really wise and intelligent about, but then there's a whole host of things that she's kind of a dummy at. And so I think that she is always acting sort of at the top of her intelligence, at the sort of like, well, I think I'm doing it right, like even in the scene that you just mentioned, like with Eden, like this part where Lucy's got, it's like it's kind of chilling. It's actually one of the, I think, a scary moment in the movie when she's like, oh, he's a great guy, and I really want you to meet him. And she's got this kind of like Pollyanna, like happy-go-lucky thing. Like her priorities are kind of whack.
Mm.
Um, and she doesn't know that. And so I think that hopefully some of that, why it's fun to watch Lucy is there's a little bit of that dramatic irony where like we're all watching, we're like, come on, girl, like get it together, like stop, stop doing that. So yeah, because and hopefully we all see a part of ourselves in her, right? Like where we've thought we were doing the right thing, or we're maybe prioritizing the right things, and we ultimately weren't. But Lucy, she has no idea that she's fucking up so badly, I think.
Yeah, I definitely found that relatable. We've all been in that boat, right, where we prioritize the wrong people or the wrong thing, and then we
Right.
need that shockwave moment.
Right.
I want to ask kind of a more bird's eye view question. So, being that this is your feature directorial debut, this is such a huge personal story to tackle. I wonder like if you had any reservations about like tackling such personal material, intimate material in your first film like this.
Um, well, the truth, it's not that personal. I mean, Lucy's not, she's a character. There's certainly things I've, pulled from my life, but been inspired by, but I really am not very much like Lucy, especially when I watch the film back. There's just a big, yeah, there's a big difference between me and her as people. So, no, I don't, it didn't feel weird because ultimately it's a story, so I really kind of went for it.
Yeah, so it's a little different than.
It is different from my real life. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to talk as well about like the setting too. I feel like New York feels like a character unto itself in the
Hmm.
film, and like it's almost inseparable from Lucy and her journey. What was that like to film there, like on location, but then also weaving that setting into the film as a character?
I mean, I love New York so much. I find it to be one of the most endlessly inspiring cities, and it's really like a living breathing city. And I think that it is also like a mirror in many ways. Like if you are having an amazing day and something good just happened, and then you like step outside and oh, the sun's shining and I'm on the subway and everybody's really nice, like it reflects back to you what you give to it. But in the same way, if you're having like a really shitty day, you like go outside and you're like, oh, the subway's dirty, there's too many people, it's loud, there's a rat. Like last night I was in Washington Square Park and I saw a rat and I was like in a good mood and I was like, he's so cute. So I really think that New York is like a mirror in many ways, like many things in life. But we had a really good time kind of having this city reflect how Lucy's feeling. And it was a real joy. We, did the sound mix not too long ago. And Tristan Bayless, who was one of our worked on the sound mix with us, he got really, we had a lot of fun with kind of like having the city sounds match what's happening internally with Lucy. Like one of my favorite moments is in the end of the film. I don't know if I'm not supposed to talk about spoilers or whatever, but like after some stuff happens and then she's outside on the street and it's so loud and it's like her brain feels like that too. So yeah.
Yeah, and then conversely, when it's like beautiful and peaceful, like on the big long date night, that's
Oh
the
yeah,
city reflects like her inner peace. Yeah, that's
totally.
such a great point.
Yeah.
I guess as a last question, premiering this film at Tribeca, obviously, and given the New York setting, I imagine that's pretty surreal. Heading into the festival, what are your thoughts? What are you hoping that fans take away from the film, and how do they enjoy the film?
Yeah. I mean, um, I'm like so excited to be premiering this at Tribeca. I don't think that there's a better place for this story and for Lucy, and it just feels like an incredible like homecoming moment, particularly because I had a short with Tribeca in 2023, and so it's really exciting to be back at the festival, and I'm so excited about that. And I hope that people are kind of like uplifted and sort of uh, feel the sort of positivity and the warmth of the film. Like I hope for that. And then the other thing too is like ultimately this is a movie about, like you said, the thing about the air mask. I think that I hope it inspires people to think about their own relationships and how they show up for themselves and then for the people in their lives. And if there's anything they sort of want to interrogate about that, perhaps.
Yeah, I think sometimes we all need to be a bit more selfish at times and
100%.
in a wholesome way, in a positive
Yeah.
way. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you so much for speaking with me again. I really, really enjoyed the film. I'm really
Thank you.
looking forward to hearing what people say about it and the discussion about it next week. So, thank you again for taking the time.